Hello guys, I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Mr. Antoine, or you guys can also call me Mr. A. And today we're going to talk about a very important topic. So for those who don't know, this channel is about a journey. It's about a journey to financial success and financial freedom. And so if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe and let's get directly into today's topic. So today we're going to talk about beliefs. But why is it important to talk about beliefs? So basically, you have one individual here, and the individual most of the time has a goal, right? But there's one thing that is at the center of all the different actions an individual takes, and this thing is a belief system. So the individual here has a belief system, and whether he is aware of it or not, that belief system does dictate the way he acts. And basically, as a person acts, most of the time they do reflect a certain goal that they have already primarily. So if you want to judge a person, most of the time, I think it's not really through the words, but it's mostly through the actions of the person, because the actions will reflect directly the belief systems that the person has. Now, let's go directly into the Christian journey that I was talking about. So when I came to university, I'm still now at university. For those who don't know, I'm a student in China. I want to give more information than that. But when I came to China for the first time, I had a belief system, and I still do have that same belief system. And what was it? It was Christianity. Right? Christianity was my belief system, or is my belief system. And why have I taken that? It's primarily because my father and my mother were Christians, and I grew up in a Christian family. And so I would say that I was, let's say, the perfect Christian boy at a certain period of time. When I was in high school, it wasn't really that case, with puberty and all the different changes that happened. It wasn't really the case. But at a certain point of time, especially when I was starting with university, back home, in my home country, at the beginning, I really looked at Christianity with the eyes of an individual that is possessed by this idea of idealism. So I was looking at all the different things that were written in the Bible, the verses and all, and I was really trying to live my life according to those things. And I would say that, and I say it with pride, that I was really trying to be a real Christian. But the problem is, at that time, I didn't really understand what being a Christian was. And for that, I would like to talk to you about one particular topic, which is about vices and virtues. Vices and virtues. So for those who don't know, the Catholic Church does say that there are, I think, seven vices or eight vices and eight virtues. I won't be able to cite them entirely from memory because I haven't taken the time to actually take that information, but I can give you some examples of those different vices. You can look up to it, I don't know, on Wikipedia, or you can look at it also on the internet. It's a really good stuff. And so there was one thing that I wasn't really understanding. It was the use of good and bad and the understanding of good and evil. I absolutely had no understanding of what good and evil actually was. So I'm coming into university, and the belief system that I had at that time, which was Christianity, apparently wasn't helping me in order to be able to achieve the goals that I wanted. Or this was also another possibility. It was that I wasn't really understanding what the system of Christianity or the system belief of Christianity was all about. So I had to go into deep study. And what did I do? I went on looking for books in philosophy. I also went on into psychology. And there were people that did introduce me into those sectors or into those particular domains. And one of them was Jordan Peterson. Another one was Carl Jung. And the last one that I would like to talk about, but I will talk about him at the end because he is a very interesting case. So I entered into university and I tried to look, why am I actually not being able to get to the goals that I have, the system of beliefs that I've adopted? But through my discovery, I saw that actually it wasn't really about the belief system itself, but it was mostly about a certain understanding that I had about good and bad, not about good and evil. And so in the cases of vices and virtue, I was looking at vices as things that were supposed to be repressed. And for the virtues, I was looking at them as things that I needed to uplift. And psychologically speaking, this thing did have a very great effect on how I was able to look at things. So I was saying that the vices that I had were mostly repressed and the virtues were the ones that I was trying to show out. But I saw that there was a problem here because I wasn't even able to understand what the virtues were. And so for that, I went on to try to understand what was actually good, what was the thing that was good, or what were things that were evil. And Jordan Peterson sent me back to somebody whose name was Friedrich Nietzsche. And for those who don't know, all Christians that don't know, I think Christians should read Nietzsche because he is one of the most biggest critics of Christianity, one of the most biggest critics. He is a very interesting guy. And so through him, I also discovered that there was something that we will call the will of power. And the will of power was taking into consideration those things that I was actually repressing. And I saw through experience and through reading books that those were actually the things that were helping the individual to be able to reach a certain level of power. And as a person who really tries to get a better life, I needed to understand why those vices were there at the first place. And now I started to look into psychology. And in psychology, I started reading Carl Jung. And Carl Jung also talked about those aspects of good and bad, and the fact that the great majority of churches do take those two aspects and separate them. It's like the good has to be accepted and what is bad has to be put aside. But with Carl Jung, I discovered that those things were supposed to be integrated instead of being repressed. With Carl Jung, they were supposed to be integrated, which brings us to integration. And now, through this whole circle and through practice, I had to go outside every time, try to look at the different things that I was repressing, and I saw that I was repressing a lot of stuff. And at a certain point of time, even those things that I was repressing afterwards came out in an outburst. It was in a way that I couldn't even control. And so, for example, when I would become angry, when I would be angry, it will be a furious type of anger, the type of anger that I wouldn't even be able to control myself, to the point that I will be looking at my heart pounding, and it's like I don't really know what to do because the anger is too much. Same thing also with lust. At one point of time, this repressed lust that had been accumulating for years and years, when it came out, it was so powerful that I ended up doing things that were pretty dangerous. And so this basically connects with the beliefs that the individual is supposed to have. But what I'm talking here about is mostly about the concepts of good and evil. It's very important to understand those things, especially if the individual wants to reach a certain degree, of achievement, or if the person really wants to succeed in life. And I saw all of those things from different experience, from my personal experience. And because I'm somebody who reads a lot and also who watches a lot, I've been able to look at the lives of a lot of people. I've been able to look, for example, in the life of 50 Cent. I've been able to look also into the life of Donald Trump, being able to look also into the life of Michael Jordan, and a lot of different men. A real man is supposed to understand those things, and he is supposed to use them nicely, integrate them instead of repressing and uplifting others. He is supposed to take all of those and integrate them within his personality. And so this is one thing that I really wanted to share with you guys. I hope you guys liked the video. If it was your first time looking at this video, please subscribe, click the notification button. And so we are going to leave at this today. Bye bye.